Just wanted to give you guys an update on my whole telepathy journey right now and uh my apprenticeship, I should say, at telepathy. So I've basically found out that um, some of the I was getting way too addicted to it, and I've talked about this before, but I was getting too addicted to it, and I basically created all these thought knots and thought pattern loops that I was latching onto, and I think like a demonic type energy popped in and took advantage of that and started triggering those. But I'm definitely starting to connect with the because I think I was probably in like a ballpark of like hearing 10% truth and like 90% falsehoods, but now I'm definitely starting to release that, and work through those thought knots. And that how you do that is like if they're if you can imagine like an angel coming like over your shoulder and plucking, like an angel can see into your brain and pluck out that little like dark spot right there. That's a thought knot, if you can imagine them reaching their hands in and plucking that out of you, it's going to come up as the thought, it's going to come out, and they're going to like agitate it a little bit. And when they pluck it out, it needs to be filled back in with something else. And what you fill that back in with is presence, and listening. And you have to do that enough times to where you're constantly being, and you fill those back in. And then once you're solidified in that state of being and that calm presence, then that's when you can get a telepathic message to come through, and I'm working on conversation still, but it's still I'm still, and that's another really hard part about it right now, is because I still like doubt when I do get a real message. I still like will doubt it because I'm like, oh geez, I don't want this to like, or I don't even like the key thing about like the real messages is like you haven't heard them before, and that's the difference between like these demonic type energies, or these thought knots, and one thing that really helped me find out which was which is there's usually like the demonic energy out here be like, it would be like, you better meditate. And like before, it tricked me into doing that, and meditating, which is, I mean, always good, but the thing was, you better, like a threat, so there's those like I've found like I've been holding on to these like key phrases, or I hear these key phrases sometimes, but it's getting weaker and weaker, and the more hiking and stuff that I do, and more grounded I am, and more Kriya Yoga that I do, especially. Kriya Yoga is by far, I mean, hiking is definitely just as important, I think. But yeah, Kriya Yoga helps untie those thought knots, because when you're in that state, you're just focusing on untying those, basically, because you're focusing on solidifying that presence, and when you're bringing your energy up and down your chakras and clearing them out, it like agitates them by yourself, and it cleanses those chakras and purges out those lower frequencies, but yeah, I'm trying to think of other stuff that's yeah, I've just been having more telepathic stuff happen with my twin flame and with the with source energy, and learning how to discern between those, and like the father has many different names, and you like only the father would be able to say those names, so like that's a good one, like, and really hearing a whisper, like hearing it in a whisper is really really good for telepathy. Like it sounds really soft, and like it's usually a positive thing too. And yeah, just to be conscious of those thought knots and try and release those things, and be in those frequencies and hold the same frequency as those telepathic messages are coming through, and being that helps with like releasing them, and not really like reacting emotionally one way or another, and going back to the listening after you hear them, so they don't become those thought knots, because like I said, I think those thought knots that I had originally started out with telepathic messages, and then I hooked onto them and started like saying them to myself almost. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm making a lot of good progress though. Oh, Kundalini yoga is really really good. Like doing breath of fire. Like my Kundalini is like fully activated, and I can feel it come up my back, and like it feels like these electric shocks going into my shoulder blades. And then my whole like head, like the top of my head back here gets all like tingly, and then it like spills down the front of my face, and it's just like this white fire. I talked about meeting Yeshua in a dream, and he shot this white fire energy into me, and a fractal of his in this angelic Facebook group that I'm in. That one guy channels Metatron, and another lady channels Christ, or Yeshua, and she said that you need to connect with your breath every morning. Not like saying specifically, but that's how I took it. Like that white fire, it really purges out a lot of these. Lower, it helps pluck those out, and like I can hear them a lot, like coming through, and I imagine them like I'm going like and just like shooting, like purging those out through my nostrils, and bringing in that white fire up my spine, and cleansing and clearing my vessel, and that's what Metatron also says, is that to channel and experience telepathy with these angels and higher dimensional beings and stuff, and these higher frequencies, you have to clear your vessel and be constantly clearing it, and be working hard to do that, so yeah, hope this helps, guys. Thumbs up.